to Comic-Con.
Dude, Comic-Con's over. You missed it.
God! I mean, Comic-Con! Hey, folks! Welcome to my kicking new show, Nick's Sci-Fi Corner. Yeah! This is the show that's going to get you pumped up on the latest and greatest happenings in the world of science fiction, fantasy, and comics. I'm going to be talking about books, movies, TV shows, graphic novels, cosplay, conventions, and more. I've got famous sci-fi fantasy characters and strange new ones all coming to party with me here on NSFC, and we're going to talk sci-fi shop. It's like a mini San Diego Comic-Con all in one crazy half-hour show. So let's get rocking in the sci-fi world. Yeah! Woo! And as you can see, I have rejoined the human race. Now, this is the part of the show that I like to call Wormhole Extreme. Whoa! Okay, guys, take it easy. I'm getting dizzy. So here's where I'm going to talk about great books and comics of science fiction and fantasy. I am going to be talking about these books and science fiction fantasy with my crazy geeked out friends. And as the show progresses through time, pardon the pun, we're going to look at seminal works of science fiction fantasy, such as Frank Herbert's Dune, Isaac Asimov's Foundation, Sherry S. Tepper's Grass, and of course, Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, and many more. From Verne to Vinci and beyond, we're going to look at what makes for a great sci-fi fantasy literature. And we're even going to talk about my crazy killer epic sci-fi ebook series, NLV, also known as New Las Vegas, baby. However, today, we're going to talk about a book called Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Now, published in 1985, this quintessential sci-fi work is hailed as one of the greats. It tells the story of a young boy prodigy, Ender Wiggin, who is recruited and trained by a United Earth's international fleet to lead humanity's forces against an invading alien armada known as the Buggers. Now, this book is so chock full of prescient ideas and technologies that have completely come true in our world today. And it is considered a masterwork, so much so that on November 1st of this year, a giant tentpole film adaptation starring Harrison Ford, Ben Kingsley, and Asa Butterfield in the title role will be premiering, and it's directed by Gavin Hood. So now this movie, in the book and the author, is not without its controversy. So who better to discuss this killer work than my good friend and sci-fi literature guru, the plot holer? Nothing gets by him, baby. Give it up for the plot holer! Yeah! Plot holer, what up, man?
Not much, man. Just stealing ancient artifacts from Nazis and returning them back to the natives, you know. Every now and then I run into extraterrestrial stuff, but hey.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, way, dude,
Oh, that's great. Hey, plot holer, thanks for joining me on NSFC and the Wormhole today.
Hey, thanks for having me, baby.
Yeah, so let's talk about Ender's Game, the character, Ender Wiggin.
Okay.
Yeah, this young 6-year-old kid being trained to be the greatest military leader of Earth. What do you think about that?
He's 6. When I was 6, I couldn't even tie my shoes.
Oh, my God, yeah, you're right, man.
A little young, but hey,
yeah.
It turns out he was pretty good at it, huh?
Oh, yeah, you know, and the thing about it is that what Orson Scott Card was really going for was, like, some kind of like really cool ultra futuristic realism. I mean, with the battle scenes, what Ender does in the battle room, the zero-G battling. Oh my God.
Awesome.
It's great. You know, the different kids are there in different armies and they're floating around, they're fighting and they have to freeze each other's bodies. And there's just so many things and the strategies that Ender comes up with. Yeah.
Wicked.
It's
I mean,
really,
even, again, for 6.
yeah.
For 6. And then he's one of the best in the elite when he goes to battle school at 10.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, and that guy, you know, who's the real antagonist.
Oh, Graf.
Yeah, Graf. Yeah.
You know, not only, let's go back to Ender for 1 second, but the kid goes into school already with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's the 3rd child of a 2-child policy that Earth had, you know, made. And so he goes into school with that. Not only that, but he wasn't good enough at first. They took his monitoring system off. And he had to beat up a kid to get there.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't actually think he hurt the kid.
Right.
But he did.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Graf, knowing all of this, calls him out again. And he says, oh, see this kid? He's the smartest. Tells it to everybody else in the class. And now this kid's he's just got an uphill battle the entire time.
Oh, yeah. And
the
Graf,
entire time.
Yeah, and Graf, and then eventually Mazer Rackham, you know, the other big guy who's played by Ben Kingsley in the movie.
Yep.
I mean, they push him and push him. They keep changing the rules on him as he's trying to come up with all these strategies in battle school, and he keeps beating them every single time. He
Absolutely
That's
adapts.
right,
It's unbelievable.
It's great. Now, the other thing about the story is Ender's family, which is, like you mentioned that before, he's, you know, the 3rd child of a 2-child policy. So then, and his siblings, they're really 2 interesting real characters.
Peter and Valentine. Peter, the sociopath, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, just looking for world domination, world power, and whatever it is he can get his hands on.
He's like a 12-year-old kid, and he's already planning on world domination.
Right. I mean,
and then Valentine. Yeah. You know, she plays both of those. You know, both the brothers.
She does, but I mean, you know, she's definitely one of the good guys. You know, but it also seems that, well, again, she believed in Peter's messages, not necessarily his methods.
Yeah.
You know, so she would help him alongside with his posts, with his blogs, and at the same time, you know, she was helping Ender in everything that he was doing. But something that bothers me about that.
Yeah.
It seemed as though instead of being siblings, that it was more of a romance.
Yeah, you're right.
It was awkward.
Yeah.
Especially for being kids.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know what to think of that. Yeah. It is what it is.
It
but
is what it is. You know, I tell you, this book is just packed with all kinds of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
You know, what Orson Scott Card did, I mean, 30 years before even, like, you know, he foresaw things like, you know, the iPad and, you know, everything. It was just the internet long before Al Gore, and also remote warfare. You know, like
drones.
Like the drones, like what we have today. Yeah. You know, I mean, there was just so many things that, you know, Orson Scott Card really, really got.
Yeah. You know, Card did get a couple of things right. If you read the book or you go see the movie, you can definitely see some of the similarities between Ender's world and our own. You know, I just can't say the same for the controversy surrounding the movie.
Oh, yeah, you're right, dude. I better address that.
Yeah, why don't you?
Yeah, well, recently, the human version of myself was at San Diego Comic-Con. And I got a chance to attend the Ender's Game panel in the infamous Hall H. And
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's huge. That's
Nobody
huge.
gets into Hall H, and I got into Hall H.
Did you wait for a month?
No, I didn't have to. I just walked right in. I couldn't believe it.
You're the guy? You're that guy?
I'm that guy.
You're the one.
I wandered
You're
right
the one.
in.
I knew you were the one they chose.
Yeah, and I was literally 150 feet away from Harrison Ford. He was on the panel with a good deal of the cast, including Asa Butterfield and the director Gavin Hood, and also Roberto Orsi. And at one point during the audience questions, one of the audience came up and asked the question about the controversy.
Yeah.
And Roberto Orsi, the producer, said, "I'll take that." And what he did was he basically said that you know, we, the cast and the crew and the production, all support Lionsgate Entertainment's public statement on the controversy, which essentially is basically that Lionsgate Entertainment supports the LGBT community, and they implore the movie-going public to try to separate the author's personal views from the original work from the movie. And, you know, and the movie is a very uplifting movie with a positive message. In fact, you know, I have the statement right here that
I
you know,
think you should share some of it. Absolutely.
Sure. This is basically what they said. As proud longtime supporters of the LGBT community, champions of films ranging from gods and monsters to the perks of being a wallflower, and a company that is proud to have recognized same-sex unions and domestic partnerships within its employee benefits policies for years, we obviously do not agree with the personal views of Orson Scott Card and those of the National Organization for Marriage. However, they are completely irrelevant to the discussion of Ender's Game, the simple fact that neither the underlying book nor the film itself reflect these views in any way, shape, or form. On the contrary, the film not only transports viewers to an entertaining and action-filled world, but it does so with positive and inspiring characters who ultimately deliver an ennobling and life-affirming message.
But, you know, not for anything, but what does the views of the writer of a story have to do with a movie itself? You know, I'm sure if you go back and got to know some of the writers of great films out there or great stories and books out there, you're not going to agree with everything that they believe. You don't have to. That's the best part.
Yeah.
But you still love their stories. Now, would you have loved The Wizard of Oz if you had found out some things you didn't like about the writer? Would you have thought that, I don't know, just any movie whatsoever?
Oh,
I mean, you're never going to agree with everybody's views, and great, everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with the story.
Yeah, you got it. No, you got
that's
it,
enough
plot
on
holer.
me.
Now, people here, look, this is what I think, okay? If you don't agree with Orson Scott Card's viewpoints, but yeah, you're conflicted about seeing the movie, because you're worried that the profits are going to go to Card or his national organization for marriage, you know, you can wait a few weeks before seeing the movie, because at that point, most of the profits go to the theater owners as well as people who worked on the film. And I know a lot of people who have worked in the visual effects industry, on film production, both in Hollywood and locally, and they have families to feed just like everybody else.
Right.
You know, so I mean, that waiting after the November 1st opening of the movie should help to assuage some of your concerns. You know, I mean, if you feel the other way, go see the movie when it opens. But for me personally, I'm going to wait a few weeks. That should let you know where I stand. So what's next, plot holer?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I hear the chupacabras on the loose again. I heard it's tied to some ancient astronaut Mayan civilization thing.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
man.
so
Awesome.
I'm going to head down to Mesoamerica and kind of see for myself, you know?
Cool. Hey, watch out for those snakes, man.
Really? Really? We talked about this before. I don't like snakes. And, you know, now I'm upset. Where's my? I'm out of here.
Oh, no. Come on.
What?
Cool. No. It's cool. Breathe. It's cool. It's cool, man. No worries, man. No worries.
Okay. All right.
All right. It's all good. It's all good.
All right.
Hey, plot holer. Thanks for coming on.
Man, thanks for having me on here, dude.
Joining me in the world.
It's such an awesome show. I'm so excited to be a part of it. The very first, and thank you. Thank you for having me, brother.
You got to come again real soon.
I hope so.
All
Totally.
right.
Totally.
Absolutely.
All right.
Give it up for the plot holer. Woo-hoo! Yeah. Alrighty now, we get to talk about the killer sci-fi fantasy movies and TV that have been or are showing today or will be soon. From Metropolis to Man of Steel, Wizard of Oz to Desolation of Smog, Galactica to Game of Thrones, I've got you covered. Today, we are going to talk about 3 recently released sci-fi summer blockbusters, Man of Steel, Pacific Rim, and Elysium. I'm also going to rate these films on the Nick Iandolo Solar Scale. In other words, from worst to best, we'll go from Black Hole, White Dwarf, Yellow Sun, Red Giant to Supernova. So sit back and enjoy the ride you are about to experience. The amazing cinematograph!
What's the S stand for?
It's not an S. On my world, it means hope.
Well, here it's an S.
You think you can threaten my mother?
Yeah, that was a clip from the new Superman movie reboot, Man of Steel, directed by 300 and Watchmen director Zack Snyder. I gotta tell you, I am giving this flick a supernova. Here's why. First of all, This Superman is for the 21st century. The 2006 Superman Returns was a pallid reboot of the franchise that paid way too much homage to the 1979 Richard Donner film Superman the Movie, and just did not stand on its own. But Man of Steel does. The characters, the Kryptonian technology, the superpowered smackdown action, the haunting and heroic Hans Zimmer score, and the cast all signal a break from the past and a bold new attempt to make Superman awesome for a whole new generation. Don't get me wrong, Christopher Reeve will always be my Superman from when I was a kid, but this new Supes really rocks. And a huge difference between this Superman film and the last one is the cast, especially Amy Adams as Lois Lane. I've always said that your Superman is only as good as your Lois Lane, and Amy Adams definitely delivers. She's a consummate actor with great comedic and dramatic timing who really brings it to the character. Way better than that feeble performance by the last Lois Lane, Kate Bosworth. And Russell Crowe, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne, and Michael Shannon all put in stellar performances as the supporting cast. And props to Henry Cavill for embodying the real essence of the Clark Kent Superman dynamic. I totally believed him as both. And finally, I want to add that the seriousness with which this story takes itself is truly remarkable, culminating in a highly controversial climax where Superman has to make an irrevocable choice between humanity and his Kryptonian heritage, and he does it in the most gut-wrenching way. That's why this Man of Steel is so great.
5, 4, 3,
Neural handshake initiated.
release for drop. Come on! Let's do this together!
Now, how can you beat Guillermo del Toro's robot monster smackdown Pacific Rim? I give this one a red giant, baby. A little weak in some areas, but that's what makes it so great. It's not supposed to be angst-ridden, uber-dramatic like Man of Steel. It's a wild amusement park ride with awesome characters and great visual effects. I saw it in 3D IMAX and my mind was blown. Quite frankly, I'm a little surprised that this movie didn't smack down, pun intended, that ridiculous Adam Sandler flick Grown Ups 2, both released in the same weekend. I mean, come on. Who wants to see a bunch of middle-aged idiots farting around when you can see epic battles between the kaiju and the Jaegers, baby? I gotta say that my favorite part of this film wasn't even the awesome action. It was Idris Elba's stirring speech before the final battle. Today, at the edge of our hope, at the end of our time, we have chosen to believe not only in ourselves, but in each other. Today, we face the monsters that are at our door. Today, we are canceling the apocalypse. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
10,000 kilometers and closing.
Shoot them down. Missiles away.
Matt Damon sticking it to the man in Elysium, my friends. I hate to give it only a yellow sun, but this movie left me wanting so much more. Neil Blomkamp, the director, did such a great job with his freshman feature, District 9, that I was totally psyched to see his follow-up work. Well, unfortunately, he might have been in a bit over his head. Don't get me wrong, there's so much to love about Elysium, from the great cast, that is Jodie Foster, Sharlto Copley, Matt Damon, and Alice Braga, to name a few. The stunning visuals, the Elysium space habitat was unbelievable. It was just amazing to look at. And the ruined Earth with those massively overpopulated favelas are downright chilling. But there's way too much magic medical technology, not enough actual world building to explain how they all got into this dystopian situation in the first place, and some confusing deus ex machina going on for my taste. Though the last 45 minutes is a non-stop action fest like a Jackie Chan movie, it just falls apart for me because I feel like what it really took to get there wasn't actually believable. Obviously, this is debatable, but I always like to say that I prefer a little more science in my science fiction. Still, go see it and enjoy it for what it is, a wild ride with some nice food for thought, and I'm totally confident that Blomkamp will come through in spades on his next project. But what a great year for sci-fi and fantasy movies we've had so far. Coming up is The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Riddick for September, Gravity in October, Ender's Game and Thor the Dark World in November, and finally, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug in December. Just look at this guy. How can you not be psyched? On the small HD screen, we've got on ABC, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. starting September 24th, AMC's Season 4 of The Walking Dead in October, and BBC America's 50th anniversary, Doctor Who special November 23rd. So let me give you a bit of advice if you go into the movies. First of all, get your tickets online. Don't waste your time standing in line for a movie that's sold out. Second of all, check out the IMAX theaters. They're comparably priced, especially here in the Boston area where we have two of the biggest and most advanced IMAX theaters. They're the Jordan's IMAXs in Reading, Mass. and Natick, Mass. And they're awesome. And finally, if you're going out with a bunch of people to the movies, take control of making the plans, because if you leave it up to your friends, they will never get their act together. So if you plan it, they will come. Well, that's all I have time for on The Amazing Cinematograph. And now, for my favorite part of the show, From Beyond the Stars. And I have a very special guest today. He has been known by many names, including Leto II, the second or true Kwisatz Haderach, but everybody knows him as that wormy, mercurial God Emperor of Dune, ruler of the Imperium, 3,500 years old. Give it up for the God Emperor! Well, God Emperor of Dune, I am honored to have you on my show.
Oh, thank you, Nick. I'm glad to be here.
So, what's new in the Imperium?
Oh, same old, same old. Assassination attempts from the Bene Gesserit. I got a new Duncan Idaho golem trying to mess around with me. The Ixians in the House of Landstra trying to unseat me.
Wow.
Nothing new.
Never rains, but it pours, huh?
Well, on Arrakis, it never rains. That totally wasn't staged. But being serious now, I pretty much got my hands full, metaphorically speaking, with things beyond the Imperium. They got these honored matres that are giving me trouble. It's just a group of women, you know.
Oh, yes. I've heard about these ladies. Tough gals. What are you going to do about them?
I can do like my father did and have the freemen go down and take care of them.
Fremen.
That's what I said. But they're not what they used to be. They're kind of like antiques. So I think I'm going to have my fish speakers go down there and, go toe-to-toe with them.
Ah, a $1 million baby style.
You got it.
Oh, can I offer you a drink? Water, perhaps?
No, thank you. Spice melange only for me, which I would assume you don't have on this backwater planet, but...
Well, I'll see what I can do. No problem, God Emperor. So, God Emperor, your given name is actually Leto II, right?
Yes, after my grandfather, Duke Leto Atreyu of Alderaan.
Isn't that Duke Leto Atreides of Caladan?
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. And he was killed shortly after he took over rule of Arrakis, also known as Dune. In a combined raid of Harkonnen forces and Sardaukar troops from the then Emperor Shaddam IV.
That's correct. It was all rather well chronicled in the book Dune by Frank Herbert.
Oh yes, which I have read several times.
Excellent read with 5 actual sequels. The best book being the third one.
Yes, that is the God Emperor of Dune, folks.
Oh, is it? Fancy that. I didn't know. Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Now, God Emperor, isn't it true that you're really Leto III instead of Leto II?
What? How dare you speak of such a thing? What do you talk about such?
It is true. Leto II was the first child born to your father and his Fremen concubine Chani, and was subsequently killed in another Harkonnen raid while Arrakeen was under the rule of Beast Raban. Don't deny it.
It's poppycock.
Poppycock? No, it's not. It's in the book.
You believe everything you read? Oh, you're one of those guys who goes onto the internet and believes everything you read.
But...
I am Leto II, God Emperor of Dune. You will bow down before my power and might. I shall have my sandworm devour you once I cast you out into the desert.
Whatever.
Oh, the Sandthrout. They're leaving me. Oh, where's my Duncan Idaho when I need him? Duncan! Are those potatoes? Oh, God!
Greg, Andrea, get this guy out of here.
Greg, Andrea, I don't like Greg. Get Greg out of here. No, no. Ah, ah. Oh, jeez. No, slow down. Oh, God. Oh, slow down. Seriously.
Here's a tip. If you're ever beset upon by a genetically bred super being all jacked up on sand trout from Arrakeen, just douse him with water. He'll go down faster than the Wicked Witch of the West. Well, that was the God Emperor, folks. Now join me next time on From Beyond the Stars, when my guest will be Ellen Ripley from the Alien films. Woohoo! Yeah, baby. And finally, it's time for Future Shock. Here's what's happening in the sci-fi, fantasy, comics world, and other cool stuff that you need to check out. io9.com is your go-to website for all things sci-fi, fantasy, comics, and science-related stuff. You can't beat io9.com on the web. They come from the future. Rhode Island Comic-Con, baby! Coming up on November 2nd through the 3rd in Providence. This is a great, easily accessible sci-fi, fantasy, and comic book convention in the Ocean State that even Herbert Jefferson Jr., the original boomer from Battlestar Galactica, told me last year that you don't have to mortgage your house to get to. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Mike Ryan and all my friends at Motif Magazine. Mike is the owner and publisher of Providence, Rhode Island's premier arts and entertainment publication and webzine, where you can catch Rosemary Pacheco's and my feisty monthly movie review show called Take Two on Motif's web channel, MoTV. Check it out, and you can see what I really thought of J.J. Abrams' Star Trek Into Darkness. And congrats to two of my great friends who recently directed and produced two award-winning indie zombie and evil possession films. First, Daniel Thrawn, director of the zombie procedural short Spoiler, which went viral last year, winner of the 2011 New York Los Angeles International Film Festival for Best Narrative Short and Best Director. Way to go, Dan! And Anthony Ambrosino, producer on Joe Begos' indie horror flick Almost Human, not to be confused with the TV of the same title. An official selection of the 2013 Toronto International Film Festival, where Anthony right now is rocking it big time up there. Both films are destined for greatness, and so are my buddies. And speaking of Anthony Ambrosino and Mike Ryan, they are board members of the Rhode Island Film Collaborative, fine organization of which I am a long-standing member, helping to promote indie films and supporting all aspects of filmmaking throughout Southern New England and beyond, with resources, classes, networking meetings, events, and much more. Check out riscfilms.com for more info. And don't forget to head on over to the Paradise Cafe in Dedham, Mass's newly renovated Dedham Square. They have the best coffee, cappuccino, and espresso this side of the Atlantic Ocean. You'd have to go to a cafe just outside the Ponte Vecchio in Florence, Italy, to get a cappuccino as good as what Ali Koshin brews up at the Paradise Cafe. I do all my writing there. And I want to give a special prop to PK Fogarty, Chief Visionary Officer of the NLV Project. PK is responsible for getting me off my butt to write my crazy epic sci-fi ebook series, NLV, also known as New Las Vegas. Books 1 and 2, The House Always Wins and Double Down, are available for immediate download on Amazon, iTunes, and BarnesandNoble.com. Go to NLVproject.com for all things NLV, baby. That's it for Future Shock and for the maiden voyage of Nick's Sci-Fi Corner. Yeah! I'm your host, Nick Iandolo, and now I'll leave you with some footage from my insane adventures at this year's San Diego Comic-Con, where I was indeed zombified. And remember, keep on rocking in the sci-fi world! here in San Diego. And look what we got over there. We've got a pirate ship. This is part of the Assassin's Creed promo that's going on over here. Oh my God, I just got wheeled on by a horde of zombies. And look what's happening. I've become infected. Oh my God, look out. And I'm here with
Anime.
Anime, what are you?
I am a wash between Green Lantern and Sailor Jupiter.
People, characters, cosplay, and it goes on and on and on. And here's a giant, big model of Godzilla right here. All right. So. Oh, it's time. Okay, Godzilla's coming. Ah! We're here at the post-masquerade dance party at San Diego Comic-Con. Hey, and I want to thank everybody who made the maiden voyage of Nick's Sci-Fi Corner a reality. I got here Mr. Plot Holer, Nick DiMaio. And over here I got Phil Afonso as the God Emperor. Yes, and then we've got Greg Agnew and Andrea Johnson here as the extras who came in and saved me from the God Emperor's wrath. And I got the awesome, super, greatest makeup artist in the world, Julie Lashane. And I also want to thank Kevin Lochran, who is our great guy in the booth, and also Donna Gray, the executive producer of this show. So thank you so much. We are rocking it in the sci-fi world. Woohoo! Yeah!